Greetings, stellar viewer and listener. Welcome to my second Strange Stories ASMR series. Part 1 was about Atlantis, and now part 2 will be on Stonehenge. Stonehenge is England's prehistoric megalithic stone circle, and its intricately designed surroundings are ancient enigmas that have long been shrouded in mystery regarding their purpose and construction. Stonehenge is a complex prehistoric monument that includes concentric circles of standing stones, a ditch and a bank, avenues, other earthworks and burial mounds, a ring of small pits and other elements. It is part of a prehistoric landscape, including many burial mounds, earthworks, particularly long avenues and curses, and other henges of wood and stone, particularly the most important site known as Durrington Walls, 2 miles or 3.2 kilometers to northeast Stonehenge. From the Middle Ages, Stonehenge appears in English legend through the work of the 12th century Romance writer Geoffrey of Monmouth and others. And in the early modern period, 17th through 18th centuries, it was the focus of some of the earliest antiquarian investigations in England. Medieval and early modern writers variously attributed to its construction to the Romans, the Druids, or the wizard Merlin, with the assistance of giants. But modern archaeology has revealed that it was built by the Neolithic inhabitants of Britain. Stonehenge was constructed and rearranged in phases from around 3000 BCE to 2450 BCE. Although the site continued to be used and modified long after this. Today, the most striking feature of Stonehenge is the remains of the rings of tall sandstone sarsens around the horseshoe-shaped group of sarsens, some of which still stand as trithons, pairs of upright supporting lintel stones. This arrangement resembled the gallows of the medieval period. This is likely derivation of the name henge, from the Old English word for hanging or gallows. So that Stonehenge meant stone gallows. The monument gave its name to a whole class of megalithic circles, which are now called henges, whether or not they include triathlons. Alongside the sarsen circles are the remnants of a partial ring of smaller blue stones, rocks that look dark blue when freshly cut, wet, or polished. Within the circles is the altar stone, and around them are concentric rings of pits and holes, 2 burial mounds, and a set of 4 station stones arranged in a square, all enclosed by a circular ditch and bank. Leading off to the northeast are the remains of an avenue marked by earthen banks, sitting within which is the heel stone. But how was the site constructed, and what was its purpose? The sarsens are colossal rocks weighing on average 28 tons, while the heel stone weighs 33 tons. These sandstone blocks probably came from the Marlborough Downs, 20 miles away. The blue stone came from the Preseli Hills in southwest Wales, and although they are smaller, they still weigh 2.5 to 5.5 tons each. Transporting and erecting such heavy stones must have been tremendously difficult, and medieval authors ascribed the feat to supernatural agency. Geoffrey of Monmouth imagined Merlin moving the stones from Ireland using gear and skill, while the earliest known depictions of Stonehenge from a manuscript in the 12th century Roman De Brute, based on Geoffrey's work, shows Merlin directing giants as they lift the lintels into place. In fact, reconstructions have shown that Neolithic technology involving ropes, wooden frames, earthen ramps, mounds and ditches, and considerable muscle can account for the erection of the monuments without recourse to supernatural or paranormal agency. Nonetheless, transport of the blue stones from the Presili Hills must have involved an epic sequence of river, sea, and overland transport, which expands modern appreciation of the capabilities and reach of the Neolithic peoples. One intriguing study by Oxford University landscape archaeologist Anthony Johnson suggests that the Neolithic architects could have employed sophisticated geometry to lay out the monuments using stakes, ropes, and straight edges, in demonstrating that the builders of Stonehenge had a sophisticated yet empirical derived knowledge of Pythagorean geometry 2,000 years before Pythagoras. Constructing Stonehenge was a massive undertaking, so why was it done? Just as the site itself evolved over time, so it is likely that its function also changed. Early antiquarians thought that the monument was built by ancient Druids and assumed it was designed for Druidic rituals and sacrifice. Although almost nothing is known about these practices, modern Druid revivalists, aka neo-pagans, have adopted Stonehenge to stage minor rituals. In fact, there is clear evidence that the site was still in use in the Iron Age and Roman times, so it is plausible that Druids did worship here, but that reveals nothing about the monument's original purpose. Stonehenge is now thought to have been an ancient observatory or astronomical calculator. The monument seems to be aligned for the midwinter solstice, so processions approaching from the avenue would see the midwinter sun setting directly over the focal altar stone. It may also have marked out lunar alignments. The station stones also line up with the southernmost moonrise of the moon's 18-year cycle of movement along the horizon. These alignments were almost certainly important, but may be supplementary to Stonehenge's main purpose. On this, there are three main theories. It was a burial ground, a healing center, or the site of communal festivities. Human remains have been discovered at or around Stonehenge, such as the 50,000 cremated bone fragments from 63 different people buried in small pits around the stone circle, or the Amesbury archer, the high-status metal smith from the Alps found near neighboring Amesbury and sometimes described as the King of Stonehenge. Such finds have prompted speculation that the site was a burial ground or used for ancestral worship or funeral rituals. Perhaps the large avenue, a large trench-like earthwork between Stonehenge and Durrington walls, served as a boundary between the realm of the dead, the stone circle, and that of the living, Durrington walls. Many of the human's remains show evidence of illness or deformity. The Amesbury archer had suffered from a knee abscess for many years, while some of the blue stones show evidence that slivers were chipped off, probably as curating talismans. So perhaps Stonehenge was a place people came to be healed. Isotope analysis of bones associated with the site shows that people came from as far as the Mediterranean and the Alps to visit. Stonehenge and other prehistoric monuments are integral to the New Age movement known as Earth Mysteries, and specifically to the theories about lines of force running through the landscape, popularly known as ley lines. Although ley line theory takes many forms, one version states that the monuments, such as henges, were placed along the lines of mystical earth energy perceptible to prehistoric peoples, serving both to mark their course and channel their energy. In this reading, Stonehenge is like a battery or charging station for earth energy, somehow making it accessible through now forgotten technology or magic. Such theories have been incorporated into fantastical narratives about the real, a mystical energy available to hollow earth dwellers, Atlanteans from the ancient island empire of Atlantis, and flying saucer pilots. Finds at Durrington Walls show that up to 4,000 people at a time gathered near Stonehenge, at a time when the population of Britain was possibly under 100,000. Animal bones show that they feasted, and the age of the animal shows that this occurred in winter. At least one of the animals was brought all the way from Scotland, so perhaps Stonehenge was associated with a massive midwinter festival, which may have provided the manpower for some of the labor-intensive works involved in altering its landscape. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. I hope it was interesting and relaxing. Until next time, have a stellar day.